applying to pediatrics and kind of knew that going into medicine, and thrilled that I've stuck with that and that passion, and trying to figure out where I will be headed next.
I think during third year, I found out that my favorite part of medicine was diagnosing. So those were the specialties that I think dealt the most with it. And because of that, I ended up choosing radiology.
I'm applying to the medical field of my dreams with orthopedic surgery.
Probably in the past 2 months, less than 2 months, have really decided on neuro.
I'm applying to family medicine residency programs. Really confident in that decision. It's something that I've always known I wanted to do primary care going into med school. And I think my experiences just kind of reaffirmed that for me.
Fourth year it's been great. And you know what the best thing about fourth year med school is? I have time to watch the Browns lose again. And no, but in all reality, fourth year started off fantastic. I did a lot of work. I'm going into urology. That was my final decision.
I'm one of those people who came into med school knowing exactly what I wanted to do. I was always interested in neuroscience. I was always interested in neurology. And so learning about the GI tract, the liver, and everything in between was just kind of filler for me. It's kind of an ends to a means where I needed to do it in order to get to neuro.
Fourth year so far has been pretty good. Started off with hepatology mini-I, then went to step 2 studying, then gen med consults, and then radiology elective.
I don't know that it feels that much different from being a third year, other than we have a different schedule.
Being a part of that elective, looking at all the images and kind of seeing how the anatomy, pathophysiology, and physiology all connected, really kind of solidified, that I really wanted to apply into diagnostic radiology.
Another thing that I've really been surprised by as a fourth year is I came in thinking that this year would be so much fun and also challenging, but it's been challenging in different ways than I expected. I have said yes to a lot of opportunities that I have been really excited about and have been longing to participate in throughout medical school, and I found that they have been a lot more exhausting than I anticipated.
And last month, I was actually in Nashville doing my way rotation at Vanderbilt, and my God, I have never worked so hard in my entire life. They really work hard there, but I could tell from the senior residents that they really make some incredible surgeons. And I think my favorite thing about that experience, especially that there were 9 other co-rotators, there were 10 of us total, 10 visiting students. And at the beginning, I was like, oh my God, am I competing with all these people? This is way too stressful. But they end up becoming really good friends of mine, and we're still actually keeping in touch now. And I think I really made some lifelong friends there. So I would love to be co-residents with just about any of them.
I think I'm a lot less regimented with, my time when I go home. I don't, feel like I need to stress about studying or, cramming or anything like that. It's a lot more relaxed. And so the things that I do when I get home are a lot more for my benefit. So if it's reading research, it's because I'm interested in it. If it's reading books, it's because I feel like it. If it's, doodling, it's because I feel like it. So I think in that sense, it's a lot more, my time feels like my time.
Fourth year in general, I think is a lot more relaxed. You have more free time, and you're taking the rotations that you actually want to. It's not like third year where you're kind of forced into different rotations. You finally get to pick the rotations that you want for your respective specialties. So being able to take more diagnostic radiology elective, and then I'll be doing IR later on. And then I like general medicine a lot too. So being able to take more of those rotations has been a lot of fun too.
But otherwise, I don't know that I have any more skills or knowledge than I did during third year. I probably have less skills and less knowledge, if we're going to be honest.
I thought I would have multiple days where I could just sit and watch Netflix and do nothing in my apartment, and I have yet to have had a single day like that as a fourth year. So just having the ability to do that and have truly nothing on my calendar that I have to get done in a day, and being able to invite all of my friends over to enjoy those kinds of days with me is what I'm most looking forward to, just because I thought I would have those moments, and I have not had any of them thus far this year.
Med school is so structured, and I love structure. I don't love people telling me what to do, but whenever I don't want to do anything, like working out, I work out so much better if someone tells me what to do.
I'm a bit mixed about the residency application process being being virtual, I was kind of looking forward to going to all the different places, but at the same time, it does save a lot of money, so that is kind of nice. But I think it's hard to get a true feel about a location without being there. So I think it's just going to require more research and talking to the residents more.
And I don't think it's as bad as I thought it was going to be. At first, I thought it was going to be super awkward talking to people on Zoom for hours and hours. But I think now that most of us are used to being on Zoom, at least now it seems a lot more natural than if it was in person. And I don't think the conversations would be significantly different if I was sitting across them. In fact, I think it probably would have been more awkward because sometimes I'm like fidgeting and doing stuff, but they can't see that, so that's good.
I'm still kind of like scrambling to get everything together. I know at this point there's nothing I can really do to change my application. Like I'm not going to be like, I made this grand discovery and it's going to make my application so much better. Like that's not going to happen.
But it's going to be a stressful several months coming up. Filling out ERAS right now, it's just about done, but I have a lot of tweaking to do. A lot of tweaking still in my personal statement. And then of course, just got to wait for interviews, and it's such a crapshoot. It's all going to be virtual. So I have absolutely no idea where this process is going to take me.
And knowing I'm not like the strongest applicant, I think also makes me anxious. And then I think about like all the things that I've done in the past 3 years, like all of the struggles that I've had, all of the things I've been involved in. And then when I like look at them on paper on, the ERAS website, I'm like, oh, this looks kind of dinky.
Couples batch process is definitely interesting. It's a lot more complex than I thought it was. It's a lot of fun though. I feel like it brings up a lot of conversations that we had to have anyways in the future.
I am not looking forward to kind of, all of the assessment and all of the like close looks they're going to be at my, all of my things, all of the, grades and records and all of the things I've been involved in. And I guess that just stresses me out. I'm just anxious.
The first week was weird. I was super productive the first week. I was working on different projects, trying to get my work done. And the second week, I was like, why am I doing this? Like when you're one of those people who like always are doing something, you're like, and you finally have time to just sleep and wake up and watch TV and sleep and wake up and watch TV.
And like thinking about where we want to apply to also, both of our families, we're both from like the same high school / like we were even in the same kindergarten class. Like both of our families are in Cleveland. So I think we want to stay in the Midwest if possible.
Sometimes though, I wish I went there to see like the residents, how they actually feel about the program, because it's kind of hard to get a true feel of a program when the people who go on interview, they obviously love the program versus the people who aren't there. And so if I were to go actually there, I'd be able to ask like all the residents, like, how do you feel about the program? Like, what's your favorite thing? What's your least favorite thing?
I really value being somewhere where I feel really supported and invested in and where I'm known well. I felt like that a lot in undergrad and have felt that OSU has been felt bigger than I anticipated it feeling as a program. So I'm trying to find a slightly smaller residency program that's very close-knit, family-like culture. And I do think that I'm finding that in residency interviews, but I have been a little bit surprised at the places in which I've found that and kind of what that would look like living in those places.
I'm kind of halfway through my interviews now, and most of the questions I'm getting now are pretty generic, which is kind of getting on my nerves. They're like asking the same exact question in 3 different ways. And for EM, we have like 6 different interviews, and most of them have been 15 to 20 minutes. So after a while, like answering the same thing over and over gets kind of exhausting. So I feel like the programs that have like stood out to me have been the ones who have asked me really, really unique questions.
But honestly, anywhere that I get accepted, I'll go to. I'll be happy. But as long as we're together. But somewhere in Ohio would be ideal.
It's funny, I feel like every time someone asks where I want to go, the joke is always anywhere that'll take me. But I would love to stay at Ohio State. It's really a great program. And I think part of it is I feel comfortable here because I've been here for 4 years now, 5 years, I guess, in Columbus by the time I graduate. But it really is a good place. The attendings are fantastic. The residents are like good friends of mine now, and I feel like they're like family to each other. And that's really what I'm looking for in a program, is somewhere where people are actually friends. I don't want to just work, because I think it'd be pretty depressing and miserable.
If you asked me today, I would tell you potentially North Carolina or maybe Milwaukee, Wisconsin. But I still have some more interviews left, so we'll see where I'm at in March of 2022.
It's finally beginning to hit how crummy it feels to watch all my class graduate and how all of you guys are prepping your applications or done prepping them because you guys already submitted them, and how you are taking vacations and you've worked so hard and you're gonna be real doctors by the middle of next year, an internship and making maybe not real doctor money, but closer to real doctor money. And we are here still working in lab, but it's okay.
One of the downsides of fourth year though is that most of us probably won't be ending up in the same location. Like a lot of the friends that we've made, just because you never know how residencies are going to go, and everybody wants to kind of end up at different spots. So it's going to be sad to say goodbye to a lot of really good friends and connections that we've made along the way. But I don't know, I think it's never goodbye. It's just we'll see each other again eventually in the end.
It feels like you guys are getting closer to the end of the race, and I'm going slowly. And it also feels like I'm kind of treading water, trying to get there slowly, whether it's a race or it's like a swim race.
I am acutely appreciating how little time I have left here in medical school and in Columbus, since I hope to move somewhere new. And it's an exciting place to be, but also a really hard place to be. Starting to realize that I am no longer going to be in the same city as these individuals who I've become so close to. I've made some really wonderful friendships here in medical school, and it's going to be really hard to leave those behind. But also knowing that how close we are, we'll be able to maintain those friendships going forward. They're just going to look different.
I think I'm a little tired from working really hard since middle school, and it kind of sounds silly, but I remember studying, taking all the extra classes that I could and doing all the extracurriculars that I could. And I think I'm a little tired from that. So I think maybe that's why I'm also struggling in med school and the PhD portion, because I thought I had made it, but I have to keep making it.
Every single one of my birthdays, I have had an exam. Since I was in high school, since elementary, I've never had a birthday where I haven't had anything. So this is the first time I've ever had a birthday where I have had nothing. And ironically, I don't know what to do with that. People are like, oh, do you want to do a party? I'm like, I have no clue what to do. So I'm trying to figure out what I should do for my birthday. So I'm super excited for that. And then just to spend time with classmates and just have a good time, just enjoying the ease until intern year.
When it gets really hard, I dream of opening a cute little coffee shop that sells books and sells plants, and Dima would make the coffee, and I could bake. I think I could bake well. He also cooks so well, so he could take care of food and coffee, and I could just be a cashier and pick out the books to sell and the plants to sell. I could take cuttings of my plants and sell them.
I really got into F1 this year, Formula One. It's competitive racing, and it's pretty cool just because they have racing locations all over the world. So one weekend they'll be in Asia, and then the next weekend they'll be in the US, and the weekend after that they'll be in Europe.
We constantly talk about when we are doctors and we have doctor money, we're going to have 10 tennis courts in our house. I don't think we're going to be making that much money unless we sell out. But yeah, or where you want to have a fireplace, or we've talked about how our office is going to look, and how our house is going to look, and I guess how I want to have a lot of dogs, and how many kids we want to have. No names yet.
I recently got a foldy reusable straw, so now I can bring reusable straws with me everywhere. My life is really boring, I'm sorry.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
I matched, actually we both matched at Case Western, University Hospitals in Cleveland. I matched into internal medicine pediatrics.
And I matched into orthopedic surgery at WashU St. Louis, Barnes Jewish Hospital.
Oh yeah, so same place, Case UH, and I'm matching into radiology, diagnostic radiology.
So I matched into internal medicine pediatrics at Case Western Reserve University / University Hospitals in Cleveland, Ohio. I was very excited about that. That was my top choice.
Yeah, we got our number 2.
Yeah, which is really,
Very
really
high,
good
yeah.
for a couple.
Especially I think like getting number 2 for just like a single person is good, but for a couple, as long as we were in our top 3, I think we were both going to be very ecstatic.
Yeah.
I matched into neurology at the University of Cincinnati.
I matched into pediatrics in Spectrum Health in Grand Rapids. I'm really excited about that.
The Midwest seemed to want to keep reeling me in. I feel like I clicked so well with a lot of the programs that were based in the Midwest because I felt like we were all pretty similar for some reason. I know that's kind of a thing. I don't know how to describe people in the Midwest, but I think we have a certain vibe to us, and I just kind of clicked well with everybody.
I matched into family medicine at SUNY Downstate in Brooklyn, New York, and I am super excited about that.
I matched in internal medicine at the University of Pittsburgh Medical Center.
There's a lot of excitement with the match, but there's also a lot of uncertainty. And it's kind of a very unique time and wasn't something that I was really, prepared for when starting out as a first-year medical student.
Monday of match week, I wasn't sure I was going to match, so I was like literally just like pacing circles around because I was so anxious. And so like when I got the email that was like, oh, you matched, I was super excited and just like really relieved. Like I think I cried because I was so relieved.
I was obviously very excited to get WashU, and then I think it kind of hit me like, oh my God, I'm leaving. I'm leaving this place that has been home for me for 5 years, that I have grown to love so much, that I formed so many relationships and networks with people here, especially people in my field that have really helped build me up and let me stand on their shoulders so that I could rise to the medical student and the person that I am today. But it's going to be awesome, and I'm really excited.
We're going to be responsible for patients, right? As a med student, you can get by with not knowing much, but I know as a resident, the stakes will be way higher. If you mess up, that can have severe consequences. So I think that's what's scary is it's going to be our first time doing this, but you're already expected to perform at an excellent level. So a lot of pressure there.
I'm a little scared. There's like a lot of emotions that I think come into play like right after match day that I wasn't prepared for. Like a lot of feelings about just like, oh, all of my friends are scattering and I am going to be meeting all these new people and trying to make all these new connections and going to a new place and just mentally preparing myself to get very lost at a new hospital because I have no sense of direction.
I think it's going to be great. And I mean, looking at my future co-residents, I was super excited. All of them have, first of all, really cute cats. That was important. And I mean, some of them have done like postdocs and like whole PhDs and like they've done amazing things. So I think it's going to be good. But I definitely was not ready for all the feelings that, match came with. So.
But there's a lot of uncertainty with the match, and there's also a lot of sad emotions because remember that not everybody matches into a residency. Some people go unmatched. Some people don't get one of their top choices. Some people put 4 years of effort into going into one specialty and end up matching into a backup specialty.
I feel like if you spend 4 years like grinding away, like everybody has, you shouldn't leave med school without like a position. Like obviously, if you're going into a competitive specialty, like things sometimes don't work out. But to leave with no position is kind of unfortunate.
My girlfriend was applying this year as well. Michelle did not match this year, but we have a solid plan going forward this year, and she's amazing. And I know that things are going to work out for her in the end, and hopefully she ends up in St. Louis. So we'll see.
Yeah, even the SOAPing, which I'm forgetting what it stands for, but it's the process for after if you don't match, you can have like a week to try to scramble to be placed anywhere. Sometimes not even the same specialty, but even that process, like a lot of people couldn't SOAP, and I kind of was under the impression prior to us matching that like most people could eventually SOAP, but there just weren't enough positions for all of the applicants this year.
Yeah.
So
I think when I started medical school, I was very bright-eyed and optimistic. And I still like to think that I'm optimistic, but I think throughout this journey, you're forced to grow. You're forced to kind of become more mature.
Looking back, like just how much I better empathize with people and how I'm able to connect better with people. It's amazing how much I've grown. Just being able to talk with people, being able to build a quick connection with people, just that and building that trust really quickly has been kind of an amazing thing to look back and see how well I'm able to do that now compared to before med school.
Kind of looking back, I kind of divide my medical school experience into sort of the pre-COVID and the post-COVID, because I feel like my medical education was drastically changed by COVID, and COVID was sort of a bookend that divided the preclinical and the clinical phases of my education.
I think also going through med school during COVID, like half of our training was during COVID, I think that really just showed me what to prioritize in life.
I think COVID created a unique environment for learning and gave us some opportunities that we wouldn't have had otherwise to kind of see the healthcare system responding to a crisis in real time. But at the same time, we also had a lot of limitations and issues with COVID as it affected our education, canceled rotations, not getting to see the same range and diversity of pathology, and just sort of being a learner within a stressed healthcare system, I think, in and of itself was a challenge.
I would also be remiss if I didn't acknowledge the fact that I am a different person than I was 4 years ago, and not for always for the better. I think there are parts of who I am that feel a little bit broken inside for having gone through this system, which the system itself is very flawed, and it's not designed to, maintain your health and, for lack of a better word, like sanity as you're going through it.
The analogy of medical school is that you're trying to take a drink of water from a fire hose. So that's like the amount of volume that's being thrown at you constantly. And you don't know how you do it, but you just get it done because it's almost like failure is not an option. You're down this path and you can't look back. You just have to make it through.
My dad always preaches mental hygiene, which maybe I still wasn't great at, but I became a little more chill, kind of go with the flow, I think. And I think to a certain degree with that, maybe a little more jaded too, which I think happens to medical trainees at all stages, whether that's medical school, residency, fellowship, maybe even as an attending, because it's a lot of work and it's really stressful. And I think it's really hard to be super high strung all the time, details all the time. If everything isn't perfect all the time, it's annoying. Like it's hard to be like that consistently at that high of a level without burning out, I think.
Instead of just like aiming for grades and test scores and all of that, of course I still want to be knowledgeable and I still want to learn as much as possible, but I think realizing that it can't be at a sacrifice to myself and my well-being. I have to make time for my priorities, which includes my family, includes like praying, church. So I think to not get lost in it.
You're sometimes your most hardest critic, so like having people to support you and provide you reassurance, I think, is really important during med school. And yeah, just overall, don't be too hard on yourself. I think comparing yourself is like the worst thing you could do in med school. Like it'll just be a dark hole.
Yes, you were definitely too hard on yourself. I always thought you would be okay for radiology.
My mindset coming in was like, I'm just gonna work as hard as I can, do as well as I can. I didn't really think about all the people I was going to meet in my class that I really enjoy, that had such a great impact on me. So that's been a pleasant surprise as well.
I think especially as I've come to the end of med school and I can finally exhale a little bit and have had time to start cooking as much as I want to again, have had time to go to the gym as much as I want to again, see my friends, hang out with my cat at home. I just got a new kitten because I'm going to be busy in residency, so I got a little buddy for Luna who still doesn't have a name yet, but they're playing together finally.
I look forward to continuing to grow as a doctor and getting to see what it's like to kind of work on a more independent basis, have more responsibility. So I'm excited to see what the next 4 years brings.
The end of an era, right? For a lot of you, but not for us. It's
still the end of an era
end.
to
Okay,
us,
no,
yeah.
it is the end. It is the end, but also not quite as a distinctive end of an era. It's not like it's the end of an era, but we're not moving on like you guys are.
Yeah, we're
you know?
staying at the same place. So the people that are going to be graduating with us haven't started medical school here yet.
Yeah. Yeah.
And to any future pre-meds out there that are looking to go into medical school, I'm going to give you a couple little pearls. One, try to be a solid, well-rounded applicant for medical school. It's not all about your grades. It's not all about your MCAT score. Do some volunteering. Do some extracurriculars. Have fun. Have hobbies. Not only are those good things for the purposes of applying to things, whether it's medical school or residency, but it's good for you as a person, as a human being.
All the more life experience you have before med school is a good thing too.
Yeah. Gap year is not a bad thing. I think like it'll give you more experience. Like I think having some medical experience before before starting med school can be a big bonus. Like you'll kind of have
Like
some
shadowing or volunteering?
or like any exposure, whether it's like shadowing, being a scribe.
Oh, scribe, yeah.
Research.
Oh, yeah. I mean, if you work in healthcare, that's different.
Yeah.
Just talk with as many people as you can. Chat with medical students, pick the brains of residents, have some one-on-one time with an attending or senior attending, because everybody in medicine has a different perspective, different view on what's really great about medicine and what's really not so great. And as a pre-medical student, you need to experience that and learn that to see if medicine is right for you.
And then also make sure you hold on to, the things that keep you passionate and make you feel alive. So if that thing that keeps you passionate is advocacy, make sure you're incorporating that into whatever field you're going into, and have something outside of your career choice that, helps you maintain boundaries and your ability to say no and be able to feel human at the end of the day.
Enjoy this time of being young, right? Because once you commit yourself to medicine, it's kind of like you're doing it for the rest of your life. So don't be so focused on the amount of time it's going to take to receive your medical degree. Live your life now, like travel now, have fun now, because you will never get that time back.
It is very rewarding. Connections with patients are amazing and great, but they're only a piece of what you get. It's hard work. It's such hard work. You're going to have some of your most difficult days in medicine. So just be ready for that.
The thing, though, that kind of woven through all these possible paths forward is definitely being able to build like a long-term connection with patients. I think that's just what I really enjoy the most, is building that connection with the patients.